Welcome, everybody, to The Early Edge. And if you thought this was going to be a lazy Sunday for you, you thought wrong. We're here to pick you up right now, and we're here to talk about a lot of different things. But before we do that, let's hit the recap screen and see how we did yesterday. It was pretty much your prototypical ho-hum day. 2 out of 3 from Danny Brasco. Certainly love that. We got PropStarz on the show today. He was 1 for 1 with that KD prop. But listen, let's not look back. Let's go ahead and look forward and introduce the all-star lineup of guests we have today here on a Sunday. Really happy to see these faces with NBA and MLB on the slate, among other sports, of course. Let me start with the guy in the penthouse level still. I know you moved, Mike. Are you still in the penthouse level?
We are, Sia. The place got a little bigger. The lights are a little brighter today for Game 7 in an NBA series. Can't wait for that game. We're going to talk about it. Let's get to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely love that. And I know, Mike, we have some weather to talk about with some of these MLB games. And speaking of weather, when you weren't here on Friday, Mike, we had the backup weather report, which for all intents and purposes was just as good. And it was from Matt Snyder, the sniper. How you doing, buddy?
I'm great. My head's very big right now since he said it was just as good, because it was not just as good. I'm not M squared. I tried to do him justice. I do want to say, though, a few comments Friday in the chat on the bacon hat. The bacon hat's rocking right here. That's a Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs AAA hat. It seems to be very popular in the chat. So there you go.
See, that's what I love about your background, snipers. There's a lot of little nuggets people can pick up if they just maybe freeze frame it and see all the hats on there. I know that's something that I've done. So Lehigh, shout out to Lehigh. Absolutely. PropStarz, you deserve a shout out. You got that KD prop yesterday. He was all things KD, but it wasn't enough for the Phoenix Suns. We're going to talk NBA in a second, but how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Sia. Yeah, glad we went with the points and rebounds. He ended up cashing his points prop, his PRA prop, but he first cashed his points and rebound prop, and it looked a little bit dicey there for a moment, but he came through. Mike mentioned Game 7 in the NBA today. Cannot wait for this matchup. Also excited about Game 1 of the Knicks series versus the Heat and Jimmy Butler as well. I'm ready to break these down.
Well, if that's not a professional transition, I don't know what is. See, PropStarz has been in the business so long that he knows exactly what to say, but more importantly, when to say it. So let's get to these marquee matchups, and we'll take a second. We'll get to Golden State in a second, because that really is such an intriguing game. That Game 6 was full of surprises, at least for me it was. Let's talk about the Heat and the Knicks, and we're going to go to fade or follow. We've got the Knicks as a 4.5-point favorite. Now, I believe this opened up at 4. Now it's at 4.5. Of course, this game is in New York. And props, I'm going to start with you. Are you fading or following the New York Knicks?
I'm going to fade the Knicks. I'm actually a little bit surprised to see the Knicks opening as 4.5-point favorites here. Also surprised to see them being the series favorite as well. I like this Knicks team quite a bit. I'm not sure that this roster, though, if Jalen Brunson was not on the team, would be playing in the playoffs. Watching what the Heat did in round 1 against the Bucks, I know this is a brand new opponent, but I just think there's a lot of momentum with Miami right now. I really like how the role players are playing as well. So I think the Heat have a good chance of winning outright today.
Wow, yeah, and I'm really stumped on this one. And Mike, I'm going to get to you in a second, but I'll just kind of go ahead and give my take. I don't know how long Jimmy Butler and Spoelstra can do this. And I do think the Knicks have enough dogs in guys like Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and enough depth to maybe handle, especially at MSG, to maybe handle the Heat. So I'm actually expecting the Knicks to cover here, but it's certainly not a play of mine. It's not something I'm hyper confident in, because it's really hard to doubt the Miami Heat after what we saw them do to the Bucks last game. But Mike, I wonder if you share that opinion, if you're on the favorite here, or if you like Jimmy B and company to just hang tight.
Yeah, I'm going to be on the favorite here. I like the Knicks side of things. I think that my preferred way to play it is still going to be Knicks in the first half. They're an incredibly good first half team, especially when they're playing at home. If you can find the number at 2 or 2.5, anytime you've got it less than a full possession, I'm going to lean that way with the Knicks here in this spot. This team is actually really good when they're on long rest, which is what they are here. It's not such a long rest where it's like an all-star break kind of rest, but it's rest that they definitely needed and deserved. I think it helps them a ton here when they're playing at home.
Yeah, So this is one of those games that it's really hard for me to break down and appreciate what the Heat can do at MSG. But yeah, I'm going to favor the Knicks as well. But listen, we've got this next game. So these games are early in the afternoon, by the way. We got a 1:00 start for this Knicks game, and curiously, a 3:30 start for this Warriors at Sacramento Kings game. Boy, is this one interesting. Listen, I will tell you, on Saturday, I was 2 for 2 in my bets. On Friday with the early edge. But I got to admit it. I put in a live play. I threw it out on Twitter. I thought the Kings, when they were down 8 at halftime, I thought they were going to handle their business in the third quarter specifically, but certainly for the rest of the game. And the Kings just looked like the dominant team. Now the Kings get to go home. Proppy, I'm going to start with you. They are 1-point favorites. It's 1.5 in some places. Fading or following the favored Sacramento Kings?
This pains me because I love this Sacramento Kings team. Nothing would make me happier than seeing them advance, beat the Warriors, but I'm fading the Kings today. I just think the Warriors have the experience in these situations, in these big pressure moments, in elimination games. The Warriors just have so many guys who can contribute and score as well. Give me the Warriors today, as much as it pains me to say.
And Mike, before I kick this over to you, I want to acknowledge the chat here. We got Amex in the chat. So that's awesome. If you have any questions for him, please feel free to throw them his way. And if you're in the chat and you haven't hit the like button, shame on you. Please do that for us, for me, for this show. Listen, we had a lot of likes on Friday, and I was able to kind of quietly, if not loudly, throw that in Coach's face. Hey, look at all the likes my show got that I was hosting. Let's run that back here on a Sunday. I would really appreciate it. Mike, Kings -1. This is really a tough one because I appreciate everything PropStarz said, but I also feel like Golden State, I don't want to say they're a shell of themselves because they're not, but guys that we've seen contribute over the last year or two, like Jordan Poole, like Draymond Green, they don't look the same. And the contributions that the Kings are getting from guys that we didn't really expect, like Malik Monk, just a huge contributor among others, they can hit you in several different ways. That's why for me, I can't even believe I'm saying it, to be honest with you. I'm on the Kings here. How about you?
Yeah, this one is fascinating. Look, I lean to the Warriors side still. And the only reason for that is because of the play of Malik Monk. How sustainable is it? You know, he's proven that it's been sustainable for most of the series. Without his heroics, they're not winning these games. He's playing at such an elite level at a very, very critical time of every single one of these basketball games. If he has even an average day, he is definitely playing above average, above his ceiling right now at this spot. Just an average day, I think it makes it tough here. So I'm not going to attack the side too much in this game. I'll get to that in a little bit later. I do have a little bit of a lean to the under, though, here at 229. I know these teams can fill it up. I know that Sacramento's great offensively. What we typically see in game sevens and elimination games in general in the NBA, things tighten up a ton defensively. This game means a ton to everyone on the floor. You could say that about most NBA games, but this one is especially true. You got a Kings team really trying to break through. You got a Warriors team that really doesn't want to hear it from the media if they're not able to close this out. I like the under in this game, much like the last game. I think this one comes in around 224.5.
Yeah, and shout out to Chip Patterson from Big Pick Energy Friday because he had the under in game 6 of the Warriors-Kings game, and that came in very, very easily. So great call by our guy, Chip Patterson. Speaking of great calls, let's hear a word right now from one of our sponsors.
Get breaking news.
Big news coming out of the NFL today.
Highlights and instant reaction.
The largest final round comeback in Ford championship history. We're down to the final 4.
I just want to take time to analyze greatness.
Talk winners and losers with a guy who's already a big winner.
CBS Sports HQ. It's all sports all day long.
Now, before we get to our picks, and we've got some good ones today, let's get to our MLB underdog play. We're going to get to MLB underdogs, and we're going to do a pick the prop like we usually do with respect to the home runs. Let's throw up that MLB underdog screen. And Mike, I'm going to go to you first. And I don't know if any of these games in particular are affected by the weather, but I do know there are games affected by the weather, including one that has already been postponed. It's the same one that was postponed yesterday. It's the Mets and the Braves. That was going to be a fun matchup to break down. That game is postponed. In this one, we've got the San Francisco Giants plus 125 at the Padres, but it's not really at the Padres, right? This is in Mexico City. We've got the Chicago White Sox plus 170 against the Rays and the Phillies plus 130 at the Astros. Mike, I'm going to start with you. Please feel free to throw in any sort of weather concerns as they relate to this game or the slate in general. But I know that's a long way of asking you this. Which MLB underdog are you supporting?
I'll support the Giants here. It's just an extremely high variance environment. When pop-ups can be home runs in that park, you've got a guy on the mound with Darvish, wants to throw stuff over the plate still. It's definitely, balls that can end up in the seats here. So I'll take the high variance approach there. As far as the White Sox-Rays game, another one that's got high variance for different reasons. That one's got some weather issues. We've got storms in the area. Some kind of a delay is likely. A postponement is definitely possible here. If they don't want to postpone it, they could probably turn this into a night game, maybe start this later, like 5:30, 6 p.m., and play it at night. But I think that game definitely has the weather issues. So I'll be avoiding it if you want to embrace the volatility of the weather and the delays. I think you could take a shot with the White Sox if you want to.
By the way, speaking of weather and delays, I do want to point out for all you SportsLine members that I think everybody knows at this point that Mike pretty much does all sports extremely successfully, but he does NASCAR as well. Hopefully that one doesn't get rained on, but there is a NASCAR race later today that I know Mike typically has DFS picks for. So I just wanted to alert everybody that's not already a SportsLine member. It's not just, the sports betting picks. We do a lot of DFS, and Mike's not the only DFS guy on that site for sure. So there's a lot of DFS content and a lot of other sort of analytics that you might not have known that SportsLine has. So just navigate that site. There's so much to offer. By the way, side note, I was born in Dover, where that NASCAR race is happening today. Sniper, which of these MLB underdogs are you throwing your support for?
Well, I'm definitely not going to throw my support behind the White Sox because they've lost 10 in a row and they suck. So we're going to avoid that at all costs right now. That's fair. I'm going with the Phillies. They've won 7 of their last 8. It looks like they're kind of starting to come together, getting a little bit of their World Series mojo back from last year. Bryce Harper, a couple weeks away, maybe. That would be phenomenal. That would be one of the quickest comebacks from Tommy John surgery in Major League history. Now, I know most of the time it's a pitcher we're talking about, but there have been position players who have had it too, and they took longer to come back than it looks like Bryce is going to take. Of the players in the game, though, the Phillies are swinging the bats really well right now, and Jose Urquidy taking the ball for the Astros. He has had a bad season to this point, so I'm riding the Phillies on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there. I like how the Phillies are coming on, and when Bryce Harper comes back, if he's anywhere close to the same Bryce Harper, this becomes a really dangerous team if they're not already. So give me the Phillies plus 130. I'll take a look at that later to see if I want to have a first 5 play in there, but not something I am on right now. I'll tell you though, this is a little foreshadowing for our picks in a few minutes. Sniper's on a play that I really like he's not on a first 5, but he's on a play I really like. So I'm going to probably be endorsing his, not as a first 5 play, but just as a play I really like. And I'll get to that in a few minutes. But before we get to our best bets, let's do one more thing. Can we do one more thing? Let's do the MLB home run props. We got 3 guys on the list. We got Shohei Ohtani. We got Juan Soto over in Mexico City and Christian Walker in the Mile High Air. Ohtani plus 350, Soto plus 255, Christian Walker plus 550 to hit a home run. Proppy, I'm going to start with you. Which of these 3 guys are you throwing your support behind?
I'm a gambling man, as you know, Cousin Sia. So let's go Christian Walker plus 550. Austin Gomber on the mound for Colorado. I believe it's at Coors Field as well. Gomber's given up 5 home runs, I believe, this season, 20 last year. Let's go Christian Walker. I love those odds.
I do love those odds. As enticing as it is, Sniper, to take Ohtani or especially Soto, considering the circumstances he's playing in, plus 550 looks nice. Where are you throwing your support?
It does. I like all 3, honestly. I mean, Soto in Mexico City with the way the ball flew out last night, 11 home runs there by 10 different players. Fernando Tatis Jr.'s home run opposite field looked like a pop-up. I think he thought it was a pop-up and run. So I like Soto there. I like Shohei Ohtani against a right-hander in Milwaukee and Colin Ray. But I am going with Christian Walker. I tried him on Friday. I didn't hit that one, but he's 5 for 10 with a double and a home run in the last 2 games. This home run was last night, not Friday. We're going to try for 2 days in a row there against, as PropStarz said, Austin Gomber can be prone to the home run, especially in Coors Field. So I like Walker.
Can I ask you something? I don't know who to ask here, but In the home run props, can you parlay them? I'm not recommending that. I'm just curious. Is that something you can parlay?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do it all the time with no home run props, betting no's on home run props.
Fair enough. I just feel, listen, I'm not a parlay guy in general for the most part, but like, it just seems like a couple of these guys have a really good shot. Great pitching matchups, great hitting environments. Again, I'm talking like a sprinkle, right? Like a couple of bucks just for fun. I think these three guys absolutely could all go yard, or at least 2 out of the 3, something maybe to consider. Michael O'Donnell, it says, good call on that Brian Reynolds bereavement return call. Got a double and an RBI yesterday. Got pitched nothing but meatballs. Great call indeed. Love that. Thank you, Michael O'Donnell. Listen, we got to finally get to our picks, okay? But before we do that, we got to hear another word from our sponsors.
Absolutely magisterial here.
And we are back. This is the Early Edge. This is Sunday. It's time to get excited because we are now at our picks portion. And listen, I'm excited about so many things today, but I got to be honest, it's probably NBA today that's so exciting for me because both of the matchups we have today, first of all, the rest of the NBA playoffs are going to be amazing. But the matchups we have today are so intriguing. We got that first game with the Knicks and the Heat, but it's that second game that I think everybody's going to have their eyes on. And Proppy, I know you have your eyes on that game as well.
I do indeed, Sia. Yeah, we're going Draymond Green over 22.5 combined points, rebounds, and assists. If there's one thing you can count on in an elimination game, it is Draymond Green to step up. He has appeared in 10 career elimination games, has eclipsed this line in all 10 of those games while averaging 15 points, 12 rebounds, 6.5 assists. That's good for over 35 combined points, rebounds, and assists. Listen, I know Draymond isn't exactly peak Draymond, but he's still very close, still has a very versatile skill set, still their best passer. He initiates the offense. They look to him in the half-court offense quite a bit as well. Just love his all-around game. He lives for these moments, whether they have him coming off the bench. I actually like what Steve Kerr has done, adjusting to Draymond coming off the bench. He's been much more aggressive scoring the ball. He has a big advantage against the opposing team's second unit. So whether he's coming off the bench or Kerr decides to insert him back into the starting lineup, I know Draymond will be up for this game, coupled with the fact we're getting a discount on the line as well. He's averaging 24 PRA in this series already. I also think there's a very strong chance he plays a lot more than the 30 minutes that he's averaging so far in this series. You couple all of those factors together, this is such an easy spot, in my opinion, to back Draymond over 22.5 PRA.
Yeah, Proppy, I think if Golden State's going to win this game, and I want to get your take here, it sounds like the answer is going to be yes, but to me, if they have a real shot at winning this game away from home, which they've been bad away from home, Draymond Green not only has to be involved from a points, rebounds, and assist standpoint, he's got to be involved from an energy standpoint, which means he has to be on the floor, and he's got to be that classic antagonizer that falls just short of getting a T, but really gets in the minds and hearts of the Sacramento Kings. So correct me if I'm wrong, that's the path to victory, at least in part, right?
Yeah, I think as he goes, the team goes. I think that's a great point, Sia. So, yeah, I expect Draymond to be absolutely up for this game. I also, watching them win in Sacramento, definitely quelled some of my concerns with the team being able to win on the road. I think that was big for them. Just getting a victory in Sacramento already, I think, is going to be huge for the Warriors today.
Completely fair. A completely fair point. I was surprised by that victory myself. So we'll see if they can run it back today at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. Mike, before we get to your pick, which is a really interesting, it looks like we've got a same game parlay here. I want to get to my pick real quick. We still have a little bit of time. I believe this one tees off in about an hour. It's a 3-ball in golf. I don't have a first 5 today, but again, I fully support Sniper's pick because it's so close to a first 5 I was already going to take. It's a 3-ball Wyndham Clark -120 over Shez Reavie and Jonas Blixt. You should have this across the board. In what I mean by that, across all books, you should have it. Now, you might not get it at -120 because I noticed on FanDuel, this was like -135, -140. I actually don't like it there, but I do like it at -120 here. The bottom line here, and in other books, it's around -120, but the bottom line here is Wyndham Clark is the superior player over these two guys. Shez Reavie, Both of these guys made the cut, so they're doing okay here. Chez Reavie has some good history here, but he's not the greatest course fit, and Wyndham Clark is really coming on. And if you look at the last 2 days of Chez Reavie and Jonas Blix, they've sort of sputtered after having really good day ones. Wyndham Clark, on the other hand, has actually gotten better as the tournament has gone along. Better course fit, better player. I'm taking Jonas Blix out of the equation entirely because I just don't think he has a shot against the other two guys, and Wyndham Clark is the superior golfer right now versus Chez Reavie. So my pick, 3-ball, round 4 of the Mexico Open at Vidanta. It's Wyndham Clark minus 120 over Chez Reavie and Jonas Blix. All right, we got to get back to basketball. Mike, I want to hear your play. What do you got?
Well, it's NFL draft weekend. We do a little thing called the donkey parlay. This is not a full donkey parlay from football season, but we're playing it tonight. I played one last night. I'm going to do it again tonight. It's Steph Curry over 29.5 points. We need 30 points plus from Curry. His splash brother, Klay Thompson, 19.5 points. And then we are pairing it with the Golden State Warriors alternate line plus 10.5. This pays plus 160 over on DraftKings right now. They have a promo where you can have a free bet. You opt in, they will refund your bet up to $100 on a 3+ leg same game parlay. You must have 3 legs. That is why we have 3 legs here. I like the Warriors within 10.5. I like Klay Thompson to score 20+ points in this game. I like Curry over 29.5. I expect extended minutes for both of these guys today. Curry has actually never played fewer than 40 minutes in a game 7 in his career. Look, I think that these guys play 42 to 48 minutes in this game, depending on what is needed. When we look at this here at plus 160, that gives us an implied money line or implied probability, basically 38%. When I run the numbers on this, I actually have this all the way up to 45%, meaning the price that we should be paying on this is plus 122. I think it's a pretty good value. Not often do you get that with a same game parlay. We have unique circumstances here where we project really extended minutes and significant usage for 2 guys that will have the basketball in their hands. So let's go Curry over 29.5, Thompson over 19.5, Warriors plus 10.5.
I love the ode and the reference to football season because we had the NFL draft. We've got the schedule coming out on May 11th, which for the record is my birthday. So thank you, Roger Goodell, for that. And then if you look just beyond the horizon a little bit, that's football season right there. It's right there. It's touchable. We got to wait a couple months to really get things rolling, but cannot wait for this team to be around for football season because we absolutely crush it. Mike, go ahead.
I just want to say, because I won't be on Twitter in the exact moment, I played the exact same thing last night. What we're going to be doing here, though, when you've got this, if Curry is remotely close to 29.5, Klay as well, the points props, we expect those to hit late third, early fourth quarter in this particular game. Then you open yourself up to a very, very easy hedge opportunity or a middle potentially to ensure that you're not going to lose anything. With the Warriors at 10.5, it's very easy to sneak in on the other side and potentially middle that. So pay attention there if you're watching the game.
Yeah, making live betting a part of your repertoire to sort of protect your existing bets makes a lot of sense, or to supplement your existing bets. And that's something I know the SportsLine team, HQ team, we're really focused on in the future. So looking forward to that. What I'm focused on right now, though, and there's a reason, Sniper, I have you in the captain seat, in the last seat, in the maestro seat, because I got to be honest with you. I personally love having you on the show. I love when I'm hosting and when I'm an analyst with you. But I can tell you the scuttlebutt around town, around the Twitter streets is, hey, that Sniper guy, like that guy's legit. And for the record, I'm sure a lot of people already knew that, but some people that are somewhat new to this show, to the early edge, that, you're still a newer face. And I'm telling you, everybody is completely dialed into your picks. And I see your pick right now, and I am completely dialed into it as well. Let's talk about it.
All right. Well, thank you for that. I don't think that many people knew that I was legit because I don't think that I knew I was legit. But thank you. Now I have a big head. No, I'm going to go Brewers team total over 4.5 on this one. I locked in almost immediately when I looked at the pitching matchups because I looked at Jose Suarez of the Angels, and I think that he should have lost his rotation spot after his performance against the A's. Look, he's been bad all year, giving up 20 runs and 16 2/3 innings pitched, but he gave up 5 home runs in 5 innings. Actually, it was before that. He kind of settled down in the last 2 innings. 5 home runs in the first 3 innings against the A's, who are basically a double-A team at this point. I think he probably should have said he had an injured neck from, looking at the home runs going over his shoulder so quickly. He's been awful this year. 382 average allowed, 737 slugging percentage allowed. Probably going to strap a few balls to a 737 today from the Brewers hitters because they are going to go nuts against him. I like the Brewers on the team total over. And I did want to talk about the Mexico City game for just a second. I don't have a play on this because the total is 20.5. I've never seen a total this big, even in Coors Field, maybe pre-Humidor Coors Field with prime berry bonds, something like that. But it was 16-11 yesterday, so it would have been well over the 20.5, 11 home runs by 10 different players. Again, I mentioned earlier, Fernando Tatis Jr., his home run in particular is kind of what turned my head because it looked like when he just right off the bat, it looked like he kind of thought he had it off the end of the bat, like it was going to be a pop-up or maybe a foul ball. And it wasn't even a wall scraper. It went 20, 25 feet over the wall. Take a look at the home run props there if you like. If you really want to go over just to say you bet over 20.5 and 1, by all means do that. I don't have a play on it, but I just wanted to highlight how high the total is.
Yeah, that's a staggeringly high total. And we see the home run props in that game are staggeringly low in terms of the odds there. So I'll tell you, so my support of this Brewers team total, because I almost had a first 5 on the Brewers. The reason I didn't, because I don't really like the pitching matchup both ways. And I think the Angels can really get some runs up too. But I like the over in this game in general, weather notwithstanding, and I think 4.5 is pretty low. I watched that game that Suarez pitched against the A's, and it was horrific. And by the way, he hasn't been good all season, like Matt, like the sniper has mentioned. But I mean, it was just a complete bloodbath. And I remember in that moment thinking, okay, I got to make sure I fade Suarez next time out. And here, Sniper is doing that very thing.
One note on that: the Angels said that they thought he was tipping pitches, and they figured it out during the game. Sometimes that's legitimate. I kind of feel like at other times that can be an excuse. I'm going with the excuse on this one.
Absolutely. And by the way, Thomas in the chat, yes, Sia, I took your lean yesterday with Grillo. So yeah, I didn't have a pick yesterday. I wasn't on the Saturday show. But again, if you follow me on Twitter, a lot of times I'll put out official plays, but sometimes I'll put out leans, which again are not official plays. But they're, if people are asking something you think you kind of like, I had Grillo yesterday and he won very easily. He won by 4 strokes. So I'm glad some people actually ended up tailing that. Speaking of tailing things, let's get this recap screen up so we can figure out exactly what we are betting today. We got Mike McClure with the same game parlay of plus 160. He's got Steph Curry over 29.5 points, Klay Thompson over 20.5 points, and Warriors plus 10.5. Don't forget the wisdom he dropped with respect to live betting that as well.
Hey,
and
see ya. Apologies. Don't mean to interrupt you. That should be Klay 19.5 points. So just want to. I want him screw my man Mike over here. Yeah.
Got it. No, that's good. Okay, so Klay over 19.5 points for that same game parlay. So let me go over that one more time for the podcast listeners. Steph Curry over 29.5 points, Klay Thompson over 19.5 points, and the Warriors plus 10.5. Again, that is an NBA same game parlay at plus 160. PropStarz has Draymond Green over 22.5 points, rebounds, and assists at minus 125. The Sniper has the Brewers team total over 4.5 at minus 120, a pick I fully endorse. And then I've got a 3-ball today, round 4 of the Mexico Open. Wyndham Clark at minus 120 over Chez Reavie and Jonas Blix. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pretty sure that is all the damage we can do on a Sunday. I hope we've made your Sunday better. I hope we've energized your Sunday. And I hope your Sunday pays off with a lot of cash tickets at the pay window. So there's only one thing left to do. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. For PropStarz, for Mike McClure, for the Sniper, and for AB on the 1s and 2s, I am the counselor, and we rest our case.